Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to be working with our 1996 GMC Sierra K1500 5.7 liter V8. We're going to show you how to inspect the condition and level of all your underhood fluids. This is crucial to ensuring the longevity and good condition of your vehicle as a whole. Your washer fluid reservoir is located at the front of the engine bay on the driver's side. We'll open the cap up, tuck it out of the way to make sure it doesn't fold up and make our washer fluid splash everywhere. This one, you just fill the capacity. Our brake fluid level is located here on the reservoir, on the driver's side of the reservoir, on top of our master cylinder up against the firewall. The minimum maximum gauge is located here. We'll inspect this to make sure that it's above the minimum line. You never want to top off your brake fluid unless you've just replaced your front pads and rotors. This vehicle has rear drum. As your front brake pads wear in, the caliper's piston sits farther and farther out to keep the pads nice and close to the rotor, and as that fills out, the void behind it is filled with more fluid. This can sometimes bring the fluid all the way down to the minimum line when your pads are completely worn out. However, when you compress the caliper to install your new pads, the level will come back up. So only top it off after you've compressed the brake calipers and installed new pads and rotors. The other thing we want to check with this fluid is the condition of the fluid itself. This little rubber diaphragm would normally stay inside of the lid. Ours is a little loose there. Now your fluid should be the color of like a green tea. The clearer the better. Ours is pitch black, very gritty. We have some very heavily contaminated fluid here. This is going to lower the boiling point of the fluid, meaning that under normal braking, we can likely overheat this and create brake fade or brake failure. It's not going to be a proper hydraulic fluid, and it's going to make our brake pedal feel soft and low, which is a very clear symptom when driving this truck. The only way to correct this is to drain the fluid out of the reservoir, fill it with a clean, new fluid, and then bleed out all the brake lines until clear fluid starts coming out of those as well. So our vehicle is going to need a brake flush to correct the very, very poor condition of this fluid. Power steering reservoir is located on the back of the power steering pump here at the front of the motor on the driver's side. We'll remove this cap, wipe off the dipstick. You can see here, full cold. We'll fully reinstall the cap and remove it again the same way you would checking the oil. And our fluid's just about up where it needs to be. However, you can see that our fluid is very dark and has a burnt smell to it, meaning that there's likely an issue with our power steering system, and the fluid itself has been filled with contaminants, or it has been burned, and that's why we have this dark color and the burnt smell. So we'll want to figure out where the resistance is in our power steering, making this fluid burn, flush it, and replace it. Our oil fill cap is located here, about 3/4 of the way forward on the motor on the driver's side. If you have to top off your fluid, simply push down, spin it counterclockwise till it comes off. Use a funnel and some 530 fluid to top it up. Spin it back on, nice and tight. We check our oil level from the passenger side. Remove the oil dipstick and wipe it with a clean paper towel. Reinstall it fully, remove it, and check the level. These hash marks here designate 1 quart, the top of which being our engine's full, and the bottom where our fluid is here shows that our engine oil is about 1 quart low. So we'll want to open up that oil cap and recheck the dipstick. but we'll hold off in this vehicle because it's due for an oil change anyway. Our radiator cap is located on the passenger side of the engine bay at the front, just before the battery. Make sure the vehicle is cool when you remove this cap. We'll push down and turn counterclockwise, 2 clicks, and remove our cap. Normally, the coolant should be just at the bottom of this filler neck, and if you can see down in there, our radiator is only about half full, so we'll need to fill our radiator back up with a funnel and some GM approved coolant mixed 50-50 with distilled water. When you finish topping off your fluid, put the hooks on the radiator cap into these slots, push down and turn it clockwise until it stops. Then you'll want to open the cap here at the back passenger side of the engine bay for a coolant overflow and fill that to the fill line with the same coolant. With the vehicle running and at operating temperature, you want to cycle the transmission through each gear and hold it there for 5 seconds. This ensures that the transmission fluid circulates through the transmission fully to make sure we get an accurate reading when we check our dipstick. Now we'll leave the vehicle running and in park. The dipstick is located at the back of the engine on the passenger side. With our vehicle running in park, we'll open the lock and remove the dipstick, wiping it down, much like we did with our oil. Reinstall it fully, take it back out, and inspect the level. There is almost no transmission fluid on our dipstick. Normally, the bottom of these hash marks would signify we were down a quart with the engine hot, which is why we've warmed it up here. So we're down about 2 quarts of transmission fluid, which can cause a slipping transmission and a pretty severe loss of power. We'll use a thin transmission funnel in the dipstick tube to add transmission fluid, cycle the gears again, and check it until it's back up to its normal level.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope this video helped you out. Next time you need parts for your car, please visit 1aauto.com. Also check out our other helpful how-to as well as diagnosis videos.